W2AV Talk with Demetris Curry. Here's your gateway to discovering the formula to a more gratifying life with the accountability you need to start and stay energized, inspired, and on top. Author and wealth strategist Demetris Curry is a nationally leading voice and go-to authority on insurance and financial literacy. Got questions about your finances, relationships, healthy living, or professional life? W2AV talks about it all, along with tips to enhance your overall well-being. W2AV Talk with Demetris Curry.
Hello, everybody. This is Demetris Curry, and I am coming to you today with W2AV Talk with the Authors Unite edition. I am so excited today, guys, because I am here with none other than author Tikita Peagler. And before we bring her on and start talking about what has brought her to this place in life, let's backtrack and talk about why we're doing Authors Unite. Authors Unite was pulled together because we wanted to learn the story behind the story of the author that has put out an amazing book of work. And so I said, you know what? This is a fantastic time. As an author myself of Brighter Days Ahead, I knew it was important to make sure we understood who the author was behind the scenes. So today, we have chosen to talk with and be honored to be in the presence of Miss Tikita Peagler. Tikita Peagler is the author of Well Done and also Undisturbed. As a mother and a wife, she is a leading coach in the community and Christian life coaching, blogging, and public speaker. I can't tell you how much I'm so excited to be with her today. We're going to also talk about where you can find her books and work. But first and foremost, let's bring her on. Tikita, are you there with me today?
I am here. Thank you so much for having me. I am so thrilled to be able to sit with you, Demetris. I'm just thrilled. I'm overwhelmed.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know, we could talk about a whole lot of stuff. Yeah. We can talk about a whole lot of stuff, but I want to start off at the bare minimum, at the bare basics. Who is Tikita Peagler and what brought you to this place in your life? What allowed you to pull out those important books of work from you, from your heart, and put it on paper to help the community?
Absolutely. Again, Demetris, thank you so much for this opportunity and for this platform. Again, I am Tikita Peagler. I am married to an amazing guy by the name of Jeremy Peagler, and we have 4 beautiful children. I am a veteran of the United States Air Force, and as she mentioned, an author and a blogger. And I do a little life coaching. But my book, Well Done and Undisturbed, are inspirational books, and they're predominantly geared toward the heart of women. And both books, ultimately, the goal and the premise of the book is to inspire women to do well, to live well, to choose well. I've always been like keenly aware of like the brevity of life. The Bible describes it as a vapor. Oftentimes I'll sit back and I'll think about my great-grandmother, Lucetta Riley, and just different ones, you know, people who have gone on. And if you really sit and think about it, they lived a full life.
Yes.
Just like you and I.
Yes.
They got up every morning. They had ambitions. They had children. They had issues. They had marital bliss and marital problems, and they had dreams. They had a beginning and they had an end. And in between was a life full of choices and consequences. And I'm reminded of the Bible story where the Lord told Moses to give a message to the children of Israel as they were leaving the land of Egypt. And he said, listen, I set before you life and prosperity, death and destruction. And guess what? You're free to choose, but know that your choice has a consequence, good and bad. And so with the thought of the brevity of life and the fact that I am free to choose whatever, I was inspired to inspire others to choose good. And the heart of it is this, D. I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago, right? Single parent home, but had an amazing support group. My mom had an amazing support group. We didn't lack for anything. And to be quite honest, we had the best of everything. And I'm the middle child of two. And my brothers, while they are great, wonderful young men, and we grew up in the same household with the same opportunities, they didn't choose so well. You know, they made some decisions that impacted years of their life from a negative standpoint. And what I want to do as a result of just what I've experienced from seeing family members make bad decisions and have to live with it, I want to inspire the heart toward good, to choose good, because there's a good reward at the end. So ultimately, my goal is to inspire the heart to choose good.
Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. Let me tell you, we've had conversations about choices.
Yeah.
We've had conversations about experiences, perspective, life lessons, making different choices. And all of us have that exact same capability to do those things. Some have harder situations around them to push through. Okay. My younger years was growing up in Detroit. Ooh, Detroit and Chicago. You put them side by side. You already know. Yes, yes. And there's a lot of influences outside of the house. And you mentioned that you all grew up in the same household, right? Which means you had the same upbringing. But they also made different choices. And they also had different people around them at different times of the day that encouraged them to do either yay or nay of what they should or should not have done. And so those are things that we too, no matter where we are in the world, we have to deal with those exact same things. And I look back and I think back to my friends and family, and there are so many people that I love and love on that have made some really, really bad choices in their lifetime. Some have made great choices, but in the interim, there was a time frame where they weren't quite sure which direction they were going to go in. You know what I mean? So I feel that when you say that there's been in that background, because of your experiences of seeing, and you're being the middle child. Hello, you're so like in the middle of two bookshelves, right? You're that little book, right? And you have that in the middle here, and you're the right middle of all of that. Literally, as a middle child, you see the beginning and the back end of what it looks like to make those bad choices. So you, on the opposite side of that, you decide to bring that to the forefront of, hey, you don't have to make that choice. Absolutely. Isn't that amazing?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was speaking with someone just last week, and I was kind of reiterating the importance of being a mentor, or being, as I describe you so often, a trailblazer. Someone has to be the voice to encourage good. I'm not talking about perfection. I'm not talking about adhering to a strict set of laws, but choosing good, being able to have long vision. My daughter is right now in college. Her second year of college, and she didn't really have a freshman experience, college experience, due to COVID. So she didn't make many friends. She is now in week 6 of her sophomore year. And she says, Mom, I'm so lonely. I don't want to do this. Meaning not college, but I wish I could come home. I haven't really connected to anyone. And it's just horrible. So perspective. I said, Madison, listen, here. It's only been 6 weeks, right? I said, baby, just hold on. Be patient. It is inevitable. You want to begin to meet people in your classes. As you join organizations on the campus, you will meet people. Be patient. Stay the course. Enjoy the moment. Don't get thrown off by this overwhelming sense of loneliness. You got a new apartment. You're a sophomore with an apartment by yourself. So, seize that moment. And so I said that to say this. There has to be a voice out there.
Right.
There has to be a voice to say, hey, you can do it. You know what? Let's consider this way. Or all that noise in your head, sometimes you can sit down and talk with people and inspire people and say, let's kind of unpack those thoughts. And once you help them, or unpack those thoughts, it's clear. And they say, you know what? I see. I think I will choose the better way. And so while I try to inspire different ones to choose good through my writing, I also understand the importance of coming alongside my fellow sister or brother and walking with them along their journey to help them. Oftentimes, like you said, people, they grow up under different circumstances out of their control. And sometimes you need a leader. That's why we have a president. That's why we have teachers. That's why we have commanders. God said it as such. I just mentioned Moses. He was a leader. We need a voice to inspire. And the question is, will you inspire? Number one. And then also, will you choose to do good?
And will you choose to do good? That brings up the topic of well done. Well done. I love the title. Absolutely love the title. And, that's just the thing. Sometimes we need someone to say, you know what, you're doing a good job. You're headed in the right direction. Even though it was hard, it was turmoil, it was devastating, it was just mind-boggling of whether you could push through what you went through. I give this testimonial in my book, Brighter Days Ahead. I was talking about there were days where I did not think I could push through. There were days where I felt like I wasn't supposed to have that because of what I experienced and what I was used to seeing as a kid of you're supposed to be in lack, right? And if you make a little bit too much or you do a little bit too well, that certain friends or family are turned against you, right? And then to have that confirmation of, guess what? Believe it or not, you deserve to have what God has blessed you with. Believe it or not, you've pushed through. You stayed the course, like you told your daughter. You've been steadfast. You did not make a change in your direction because of, fear or anything else that would have put you in a negative direction. You have been doing a really good job at moving forward and just believe that you're supposed to be where you are. Well done.
That's right.
Isn't that amazing?
I think it's beautiful because here it is, as you said, reaping the benefit of hard work.
Mm-hmm.
As Moses said from the mouth of God, listen, I'm giving you free will. There's a blank,
Mm-hmm.
it's all yours.
Mm-hmm.
Canvas. You can choose good and prosperity, life or death. It's on you. But just
Mm-hmm.
know that each bear consequences. And so when I look at you, you chose to, you chose well, right? You chose to work hard and you're reaping the benefits of it. And so that's again the beauty of choosing.
Yeah.
Oftentimes we talk about, well, she made a bad choice, and this is what happens. But on the other side of that is receiving good and
Mm-hmm.
being able to celebrate it.
And being able to celebrate
There's that temptation to dumb down your success,
it. Yes, they
especially
might.
as it relates to family members and close
Mm.
friends. You don't want them to feel bad. You don't want to appear arrogant. So you kind of dumb it down. I mean, you really dumb it down. When in fact, God says, this is your reward. This is the fruit of your labor.
Tikita, are you saying that I dumb it down?
You don't dumb it down. You're humble naturally, and you're so generous. So like, no, not you, but I don't know. But that is a tendency for us to dumb our success down,
Yes.
because we don't want the other side to feel bad.
And I have a different perspective on success. And I think a lot of people see it differently, but I think success is a process. You could be successful today and not successful tomorrow. It's like you can really put yourself in a mind space of I'm doing what I'm supposed to do to have what I'm supposed to have, but then I didn't achieve a particular goal, and then all of a sudden you don't feel like you've been successful because you didn't hit that goal, right? But really, the perspective is it's a process to always do above and beyond what you did the day before, the month before, the year before. So it's a process. It's not, success is not something that it stays locked in. You have to continuously work at it, right? Continuously work at it. And there may be times where you fall short. There may be times where mentally you're just not there. There may be times that you just have to take a break.
Yes.
Okay. And you and I are talking about that as far as mental break and how real it is. I mean, having to have that mental break, that emotional break, that spiritual break, all of that is so much a part of whether your success will be long lasting or continue on, or if that process will be stagnant or not. So I like to tell people, and I appreciate the compliment. I tell people all the time, I said, I'm not where I want to be quite yet. Because guess what? I'm still striving.
Absolutely.
Still striving. Still trying to get to certain places that I feel like I really need to get to. And I think you and I both, we share this same mindset of that we always have to push forward to new levels, to touch more people, to help more people, to change lives as much as we possibly can. Change lives. That's what our purpose is. My purpose here on this earth is to help change lives, to help them take over their finances, to help them understand generational wealth, to be able to get to the level of making choices and having options. Options. Girl, options is a beautiful thing. It's one of my most favorite words in the world, is to have options of saying, yeah, I want to do that today. No, I don't want to do that tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And so all of that is a process of how you get to that success margin.
I love that. And I think I 100% agree. Success is a culmination of small choices, daily choices. It is you just piling up to that ultimate success.
Yeah.
Every single day. I love the thought of Les Brown. You know Les Brown.
Yes, yes.
And he said that the richest place on earth is the graveyard. Oftentimes people die with dreams, unrealized talents, unrealized, and I believe that's as a result of choices. You know, get tired in the process.
And just let that simmer for a minute of having the richest place on the earth in a graveyard.
In the graveyard. We have millionaires in the graveyard, people who were supposed to impact nations and change hundreds of lives and inspire thousands upon thousands. But somewhere along the way, those small daily choices. Moving to take a break. To pull out before the burnout. And because they chose otherwise, they never achieved what was in them. And so in the graveyard lies so much riches that were in us, that died with us and was shared, used. But again, going back to the daily choices, you know, like you said, there'll be days where we're not successful. Or I don't say successful, or maybe it was a bad day, or we weren't as productive, or
wasn't productive, didn't hit the margin that we wanted to hit, or
I had 10 things on my checklist and I didn't get one done. But it's a daily choice.
It is, and I look at it as in seasons. You know, my favorite season is autumn. Autumn is my favorite season, where things start to change in the air, and the wind blows different, and the leaves alternate in color, from the reds to the oranges to the burgundies, and that is a season for me of refreshness. It feels like refreshing of the air, the crisp sound in the air, a nice breeze to cool down those hot moments. And so that's why I always love the season of autumn, because it reminds me of the changing of seasons. The changing of seasons. And it's a time to allow people, right, to understand where they are in that given season. Oh, girl, in that given season of where they are in mindset, in spirit, in heart, in love, in emotion, physically, where they are health-wise. It's a great time to reflect on where you are. And we're just hitting fall season, autumn season now, right? Getting ready to hit that autumn season. So I'm just loving it. I'm looking outside the windows and like, yay! I'm looking at the trees, and I'm loving the breeze in the air and how it feels against my skin. You know what I mean? And I'm like, ooh, that's a great feel to get that breeze, that coolness of a new thought, that coolness of a new breeze. And so I tell people, when you think about season to season, think about that in such a way when you're talking about pushing through success, process, moving to the next level, where you want to be in life. Look at it as in seasons. Right? Look at it as in seasons, because there will be some hard seasons. A lot of us have gone through that with this pandemic, right? This pandemic has proven to be a seasonal time for some businesses, for some health. We've lost a lot of people in bad health in this season, and so many different things that have changed during that time frame, right? And so with all of that, you have to take that time to reflect. And when you're looking at the success and the process of success and being undisturbed,
Yes. Yeah,
you
absolutely.
have to have that freshness, right? Of, okay, even though things are going on around me, I'm undisturbed. Let's talk about undisturbed.
Undisturbed, all about perspective.
Yeah.
All perspective. Actually was inspired uh, uh, by undisturbed, or with that word undisturbed, by reading a scripture. And it was the Apostle Paul, right? And he was encouraging the women in that day to not so much don't focus so much on your outer appearance. He said, don't focus, and I'm paraphrasing, don't focus so much on your outer appearance, but adorn your heart, right? And he said, with meekness, that's easy. We can adorn this heart with some humility. That takes some effort, but we can do that. And then
Mhm.
the second thing he said was a quiet spirit, which is priceless to God.
Mm.
So I was like, priceless? Something's priceless to God? Because when something is priceless, you protect that thing. You know what I mean? So if
Mhm.
God sees something in me priceless, he's going to protect that thing, it's precious to him. So I
Yes.
was like, he said, a quiet spirit is precious to him. And I
Mm.
began to research that word. And one of the original definitions of of a quiet spirit is the word undisturbed.
Mm.
So I remember when I got that revelation. Let me tell you, D, I jumped out of my seat. I ran in my living room and I just cried and I praised God. Because I said this, I said, Lord, you mean to tell me if I am undisturbed, another word it meant was sedentary, to mean to remain seated, that if I'm able to remain seated
Mm.
on my throne that you have given me, the throne of peace that you have given me, if I'm able to remain seated, undisturbed, unmoved,
Unmoved.
waves of life, which will come, that you say, now that's precious.
Yes.
And so with Undisturbed, I wanted to inspire the women through
Yes.
practical principles, and then also through examples of other women in the Bible who lived in such a way that although the turmoils and the turmoil of life and the winds of life came their way, they managed to remain undisturbed, unmoved,
Unmoved.
because of their faith in God. You know, they were shaken, they were rattled, a little afraid, but they remained seated. They didn't move, you know? And
Mm.
so that was the heart of Undisturbed. I wanted to inspire women like, look, you can keep it moving. You don't have to be shaken because it's coming. It's coming. I remember when I had to go to the hospital. I think I shared this story with you. And I have lupus. And some time ago, maybe over 10 years ago, I had a flare and I had to go into the hospital and had to get blood transfusions and things of that nature. And I was there for two weeks. So a year to the day, I go in to see my doctor follow up because I wasn't feeling well.
Mhm.
So the hospital facility was an hour away. So they did blood work because the answer typically is in the blood work.
Right.
So in the blood, did the blood work, I drove home and I got a call. As soon as I got home, Miss Peagler, I need you to come back because X, Y, and Z, your platelets are severely low. So I knew what that meant, right? So on my way to the hospital, an hour, I told Neil, take care of the kids. I'm just going to drive myself to the hospital. I knew what was before me. I knew the treatment plan. I knew the blood transfusions were before me. So in the car, I didn't pray for God to heal me. This is what I prayed. I said, Lord, I need you to give me courage, and I need you to make my heart strong, because I know what I have to endure. So again, that's that element of being undisturbed. Listen, I had to go through this to get healed. I had to
Wow.
go through all this, the process of the blood transfusion and the poking and things. And I knew that, but I needed my internal man to be steady. I couldn't afford, I didn't want to go in that hospital fearful. I couldn't do it. Lord, make my heart strong and give me courage. I need courage.
Yes, yes.
And he gave it to me. I
Mm.
often say, I remember sitting, and I'm going to let you go, but I remember that time in the hospital room. And I had a little routine, and I was eating breakfast, and I was sitting Indian style in my bed, and the sun was shining through the window, and I was looking out the window. And I said, Lord, I feel sorry for people who haven't experienced what I'm experiencing. Here I am sick, right?
Mhm.
But he answered that prayer so miraculously that I felt sorry for people who didn't feel the courage that was just
Yes.
roaring in my heart,
Mm.
and the
Mm.
peace that I felt. And I remember when I left, I said, Lord, don't leave me. And we know that the Lord would never leave us nor forsake me.
Right.
Forsake. But his presence was so with me. My heart was so at peace. The courage
Mm.
in my heart was so steady that I didn't want, it was tangible. So when I left, I said, don't leave me. I don't want this to ever leave.
Right.
And so again, back to the undisturbed. It's not necessarily the storm, not
Mhm.
experiencing a storm, because we will. It's our posture during the storm.
Yes.
But we can go through our storms in such a way where it doesn't break us. Because listen, D, I'm not being insensitive. Some people go through some devastating circumstances, situations, to lose a child, to lose
Mm.
a spouse, to be diagnosed with a terminal illness. That's devastating.
Right.
I'm not saying, oh, you should just go through undisturbed, not move. No, no. But there is a place of peace. There is a way where you can go through it and not die, not
Yes.
deteriorate in the process.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
undisturbed, because that is precious to God. And it's precious to him because faith pleases him. So when he sees
Mhm.
his daughter or people say, you know what? I trust you.
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
not trusting my own strength. I trust you. He said, now that's precious. And I'm going to watch over that. I'm going to
Ooh,
pass.
that is powerful. Oh goodness. And then when you said undisturbed, of course, the first thing that came to my heart was unmoved. Unmoved. That just, and I'm like, wow, because there is so much, and you made a very valid point that there are some people right now. I just, I just buried my dad not too long ago. And, with him fighting cancer, the way that he was fighting cancer for years. And, it took him a while to even accept that he needed to work on it, that he wanted to work on it. He was just like, hey, I don't want to work on it. I want to just enjoy life. But then he had a revelation of, I want to live as long as I can live, and I want to fight this thing, right? I want to fight this thing. And he fought it as long as he possibly could fight it. But there's a mental capacity to what you're talking about. That mental capacity is a refreshness of the mind, a renewing of the mind, of even though it looks so, and it feels so, and it appears so, that your mind and the renewing of the mind is, I'm going to be undisturbed, unmoved, push through, get to the other side of the storm, a type of mindset. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that you to get through storms, because we will all endure storms. God said that we will all endure storms. So in order for us to get to the other side of that storm, how we are able to get there, and even how long that season lasts in our lives, is all in the mindset of and renewing of the mindset of being undisturbed and unmoved.
Yeah, absolutely.
How crazy is that? That's some serious,
Yeah.
serious food for thought, right?
It is.
It
Like,
is.
and
It
it's
is. I love your story about courage. I absolutely love your story about courage. You know, many years ago when I was held at gunpoint uh, as a teller, and I had to actually testify about it in court against the assailants. Really, the nightmares, the fear, the constant looking over the shoulder out of scared of just being in the public, all of that came with, how do I get past this point? How can I mentally take my life back where I'm not afraid to walk into a bank? How do I take my life back where I'm not afraid that someone's going to attack me in the parking lot getting groceries? How do I go to sleep at night with all the lights out and hear a sound and jump up and scared and fear? How do you get past that, right? And at that point, I was disturbed, okay?
yes.
I was disturbed, Mama. I was not in a mental capacity to say, I'm good. You know what I mean? It took a while of being in that season and God to give me that courage and the renewing of the mind and getting rid of that fear, getting stronger through that turmoil to be able to get to the other side, to be unmoved and undisturbed. So that's one of those things where what I've learned through the years is that it's not just being undisturbed in that moment. Yes. Sometimes you have to actually push to be undisturbed. You have to push to learn to be unmoved, to change your thought process on the situation at hand. The perspective has to change. The idea of I can get through this has to change, right? In order to get to that comfort level of having that courage. Don't you agree? Don't you think so?
100% agree. I think about I always use, I'm using a lot of scripture references, but I recall when Jesus told Peter, who was one of his most passionate disciples, and he said, you know something, Peter, I'm paraphrasing, Satan desires to sift you as wheat, right? Like, I know his desire. It's been revealed to me. He wants to sift the very life out of you. Yeah. But this is what Jesus said. But I've already prayed for you. What? That your faith fail not. And so oftentimes when we go through our challenges in life, perspective, our faith fail. We lose faith in ourselves. We lose faith in the fact that the circumstance will change, that things will get better. Perspective. And it's perspective is so important. He said, I just pray that your faith, what you know, the very core of that thing that anchor you, I pray that doesn't fail, because if you can keep your faith, you're going to be okay. No matter how that Satan comes to sift the very life out of you, I've prayed that faith that I've given you, that it doesn't fail. And so for people, our hope is that they don't get discouraged, that they don't lose their faith, right? That they don't give up and just give in, that they will choose well, right? because perspective does matter. And again, perspective matters because it provokes your choice.
Mhm.
But oftentimes people don't have the strength to choose. They're so inundated with their circumstances, right?
Mhm.
And so that's why it's so important that when God brings you and I out, that we are voices,
Right.
right? Or coaches, mentors, to walk alongside them, along their journey, their dark journey. I've walked alongside people, and their journey was long. You know what I mean? Their journey
Yeah.
was, but
Yeah.
you walk alongside them in hopes that their perspective would change.
Yes.
So keep
Yes.
speaking truth to them until that dark cloud is removed, that their faith fail not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And in changing of that perspective, that's the renewing of that mind.
That's right. That's right.
It's the
Yes.
renewing of the. I went through that process. That's how I know it. I know it real passionately.
Wow. Isn't it powerful?
I went through that process. A renewing of the mind. And also, and I know this is completely off topic, but renewing of the mind of who I was as a woman,
Ooh, speak on that. I want to hear.
who I was as a woman. I had to sort of learn that as a woman, the power I hold within. You know, we as women, we're nurturers.
Yes, ma'am.
We see about our families, we see about our spouses, we see about our children. We put ourselves on the back burner often.
Mhm.
Often, not because we choose to, but because it's embodied in us to take care of those around us. That's who we are. God built us as nurturers to bring the birth of babies, to see about them until they're in adult form, and to also be the support mate to our spouses. And so with all of that, we're nurturers, we're support systems. We're that's who we are built to be, support systems. But we're also leaders.
That's good.
And I had to learn who I was is on the left side, I may be a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a supportive daughter. I am a good friend. I am a leader. I am a motivator, right? But on the other side of that, I'm also in a position where I have to be truthful with myself of who I am as a woman to be able to change lives, to
Yeah.
help others, to give direction, and not just be the support system, but to give direction, right?
Yeah.
That was a renewing of the mind for me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because I grew up in the old town, country atmosphere with my grandma who, had all the children and would be the one to set the plate for the father first.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't y'all eat until we fix that plate for granddaddy.
Right.
He eats first, right? Then the kids are able to get food, and he is the support system. He is the breadwinner. So you supposed to support the man. You're supposed to do this. Make sure that the clothes are clean. Make sure that the kids are fed. Make sure they did their homework. Make sure that the yard is clean. Make sure the house is clean. Make sure all these things are done in support system, right? But on the other side of that, God had leaders and women.
Yes.
Okay. And he looked for them for leadership, right? Because he knew that when he gave them a task, it will be done. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so I had to learn that. And it took years for me to understand that, where you can still be exact the way your God made us to be as support systems. But at the same time, as a business owner and as a boss and as a leader and as a public speaker, that I had to also be mindful that I am in leadership and I am to direct and I am to influence and I am to help those, guide people, counsel people, give them input that can change their lives for the better.
Yes.
It's a renewing of the mind. And that's a completely different renewing of the mind that we've been talking about. But it was something that embodied learning who you are as a woman. And it's amazing.
Absolutely is.
To know that. Because even we have children that play sports, right? We were just talking about, but we're support systems, right? We're support systems. When our husband starts new jobs or change careers or retire from what they're doing, or maybe they have to travel the world for military. I'm a military wife too. I get it. So we've had to move from city to city, state to state, and things of that nature. We are support systems, right? But then above and beyond that, God said, that's not all you are.
Come on.
You're not all, that's not all you are. Yeah. I built you to perfection.
Stop it. Oh my God.
Built you to perfection. You see what I'm saying? So not only do you have the capacity to do these things, but you have the capacity to help build other women leaders, to show other women how to be bosses, to show them how to take control of their finances, to show them how to have options, to show them how they can move forward in their lives and in the lifestyle that they've dreamed of by just taking control of certain things in their lives. Isn't that amazing?
Listen to, I mean, it's so beautiful. It's so amazing. The power of perspective.
Yes.
The renewing of the mind. It reminds me, goes back to Les Brown.
Yes.
So many women, nurturers, strong, great leaders in their families, support systems, gave their lives to their families, their friends, their community, their neighbors, right? Yet they died with the element that leader died.
Yes.
That community leader died because they never were able to shift and to elevate their mind.
Right.
Oh, I'm not perfected. You say, I love that. You say, I made you for perfection. That's just one level.
Yes.
There's a part of me that is designed to inspire a nation.
Right? But inspire a nation. And stay there. Inspire a nation. Tikita Peagler, well done. Inspires a nation. Tikita Peagler, undisturbed, inspired a nation. That does not change the fact that you are a nurturer. That does not change the fact that you are a wife or a mother or a wife. It doesn't change the fact that you are a support system. But your leadership and your guidance and what God has put inside of you to be able to really paraphrase a lot of what he's put into the word already, but the way that you bring it to the forefront and the way that you present it has changed a nation. That still makes it so that you are leader and nurturer.
That's so good.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing you on CNN and CNBC and all these other places. And Fox News. I'm just looking for on Oprah Network. Looking forward to that. You see what I'm saying? So it's amazing. And I thank God for the, putting that in me, for teaching me that, because without having that perspective, we as women can go on for many, 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 many years and think that our role is limited.
Absolutely.
And what our purpose is limited. Yeah. And that goes back to what Les Brown is saying about these women that are in the graveyard, that limited what their thoughts were of what influence they had, or what influence they could have. But they died with gifts so powerful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? with talents so powerful, you know, that could change a nation or change the world.
And I have one more thought. I often liken us people, women, to like treasure box. Treasure. And as we continue to explore and dig deep, it's not easy. Dig deep in the various seasons in your life. You will discover such beautiful, beautiful things about yourself. And not only that, sometimes you discover purpose. I've actually been speaking with women who are very successful in their career and their middle age, and now there's a shift, there's an unsettling, and there's aspirations that are beginning to birth forth. And I think, again, that's the treasure, like the perfection there, that there is more. And you think about this vast God, this incredible God that we talk about all the time, this amazing creator who knows the very hairs of our head, the number of hairs on our head, and how intricately he knows us. And so he's made us for greatness in some form or fashion. And so every level, there's something beautiful. Many achieve it, attain it, but many don't. And I'm going to give you this last point. I love the examples in the Bible, whereas we look at Abraham, right? The Bible says that he was initially Abram and he became Abraham. And then it was Sarai. Her name was Sarai. And then later on in her life, she became Sarah. And then there was Jacob, right? They say he was sneaky. That's what his name meant. He was sneaky, kind of conniving, a trickster. But later on in his life, God changed his name to Israel. And then lastly, we have Saul, right? Who turned into Paul. And I think those are paradigm shifts.
Yes.
We all have paradigm shifts. We start out one way, right? Right? We're Sarai.
Yes.
And to move with her husband from one land to an unknown promised land. He said that you would be the mother of many nations. She was Sarai, but imagine traveling with this man that says, God has spoken to me to go to a land that I don't know. And you're following him. Imagine just the many emotions, the many self-talks, the many times of discouragement, and the times where she encouraged herself, or she encountered someone who encouraged her, and then she got a changed mind. And then 20 years later, the Lord says, and I'm not sure if that was a time frame, but it was a long time, where so much maturity had taken place, she was no longer Sarai. You're Sarah. You're a mother of many nations. There is a shift in our lives. Like when you hit 40, that's not it. When those kids leave the house, that's not it. What other treasures are in you? Like you said, I've made you for perfection. I love it. I want to go to the grave and I want to die empty.
Because you've put it all out.
Put it all out.
Yeah.
I put it all out.
Yeah, yeah. And you've done everything that you're supposed to do when you walk this earth. Yeah. See, I told you we can be here all day. See?
Yeah. One subject to the other, but it's been such a pleasure. I enjoy you so much. You're so inspiring, trailblazer, and you're just a great example. You're a great example.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I see that in you. And I'm so excited for you. I'm just blown away with everything that you're doing and the coaching sessions. And I know you do those as well. And I've heard some of your students that she's fantastic, so I already know you're changing lives right now on this side of the grave. Hello.
That well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things.
Just a few things. Just over a few things. But tell us, Tikita, where can we find your books of work? Where would you like the audience to go to connect with you to learn more about what you have in store coming up and how they can just purchase your Right Now books of work?
Absolutely. Well, you can find me on my website at www.tikitapeagler.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Tikita CP, and Facebook, Tikita Peagler /author.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for joining us today with Authors Unite and letting us borrow your brain and everything that we learned about you today and learning who you are behind the story. It's so important for those people that are reading your books and say, oh, I remember her saying this. Now it connects with me of where it came from. And so I just thought it was really, really important that we learn who you are behind the scenes. So thank you. We're honored, we're privileged, and we are excited to be with you on this journey with Authors Unite. Stay tuned, everyone, for a W2AV Talk Authors Unite segment as we bring forth the next author, and we're going to be talking more and more about what brought them to this place and why it was so important to put it on paper. Have a great day.
Thank you for tuning in to W2AV Talk with author and wealth strategist Demetris Curry. Connect with Demetris at demetriscurry.com and subscribe to the Demetris Curry YouTube channel today.